We have some major breaking news. It has been announced that the penalty that RFK Racing and Chris Buescher had received has been amended. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, we got some massive and major breaking news this afternoon, as it has been announced that NASCAR and the National Motorsports Appeal Panel has amended the penalty that Chris Buescher and RFK Racing had received today. Here's the following statement and report from NASCAR.com. Appeals panel amends penalty levied against RFK Racing's number 17 team. On Wednesday, the National Motorsports Appeal Panel amended the L1 level penalty issued to the number 17 RFK Racing team and driver Chris Buescher on May 15th after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Kansas Speedway. Upon hearing the testimony, decisions of the National Motorsports Appeal Panel are that the appellant violated one or more, but not all of the rules set forth in the penalty notice. The team violated front bumper cover, which is 14.5.4, but they did not violate 14.1.2 exhaust cover panel. Therefore, the panel amended the original penalty assessed by NASCAR to include a loss of 30 championship driver and team owner points, a loss of 5 driver and team owner playoff points, a 2-race suspension for the crew chief, which of course he's already served that at this particular moment, and a $75,000 fine of the team, which I believe that has changed from about $100,000, and that goes down to $75,000 as well. In reaching this above decision, the panel provided the following explanation. The panel concluded that NASCAR met its burden of proof regarding the reinforcement of the front bumper cover, but did not meet its regarding the trimming of the exhaust panel cover. The rulebook regarding the exhaust panel trimming lacks specifically on the amount trim or not trim. Accordingly, the panel reduced the owner's and driver's points penalty from 60 points to 30 points. As a result of this modified penalty, according to the article, Buescher moves up from 23rd back into the regular season class and moves from 23rd up to 16th in the regular season standings. The people on the panel were Tom DeLoe, Kerry Tharrington, and Kevin Whitaker. This is basically what RFK Racing said about getting this statement reversed. We appreciate the opportunity to present our case to the National Motorsports Appeals Panel today. Are pleased that panel overturned one of the 2 assessed penalties. Our goal is always comply fully with the letter of the NASCAR rulebook, and our focus is now looking forward to competing for a win at Nashville this weekend. This is a really, really big deal. While they technically did not win their appeal like Chase Briscoe when he won his appeal, after getting a penalty after winning the pole for the Daytona 500. They, of course, got a really big penalty. After that, they appealed that, and they're able to win their appeal. Something on the back spoiler, I'm pretty sure Joe Gibbs Racing basically came out and said, yeah, we did not violate these rules, and you were wrong about that. They went and appealed it and were able to win their appeal. This is kind of very similar to what happened with Hendrick Motorsports when they got a really big penalty. All 4 drivers at Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, were all penalized for louvers on, I think, the front hood louvers on the car that apparently were modified, and they actually reduced the penalty where they didn't lose any of their points, but the fines were increased. And I think the crew chiefs were still required to do their suspensions, I'm pretty sure, but they basically got all their points back. This is a really, really big deal, though, because Chris Buescher goes now from pretty much having to win a race at this point to no longer having to win a race. Now, moving back to 16th in the standings, he is still going to have to perform at a very high level, but I think he is going to have the pace and speed to definitely contend. I think that 17 car has shown top 5, top 10 speed on a regular week-by-week basis, and while they've had some inconsistencies from time to time, the speed is generally there from the number 17 team. This is definitely a really, really big deal because we haven't seen a lot of this happen from time to time. Now, obviously, when it comes to penalties, they didn't win their appeal. They amended it, and they kind of won a little bit in a sense by getting back into playoffs right now. But I think that especially with how many good tracks are coming up for certain drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen and AJ Allmendinger, which that kind of changed a little bit too, is I believe that AJ Allmendinger drops to 18th in the regular season standings. He was 17th after the Coke 600, drops down to 18th, but only a few farther points back. I believe Kyle Buescher was 18th in the regular season standings. He moves down to 19th, and a couple of their drivers change positions. The other thing to kind of take a look at this from this perspective as well is the fact that they've got their crew chief back starting this week because Scott Graves had served his 2-race suspension. The suspension doesn't go into effect this week. They've already served the suspension. At North Wilkesboro, they had Doug Randolph as the crew chief, and they also had Doug Randolph for the Coke 600 as well. So Scott Graves did miss his 2 races already, so technically some of that penalty was already gone at this particular moment as well. But for RFK Racing, this still is a really, really big deal because while, yes, they didn't get all their penalty reduced. But when it comes to L1 penalties, usually they don't reduce it altogether. They didn't do the same thing they did for like Hendrick Motorsports, for example. And of course, they change up the rules where you can't remove the whole entire penalty altogether. They can go ahead and amend those L1 penalties or keep it exactly the same. If you lose your appeal, most of the time there's going to be no changes and you keep the same results. But if they felt like that there wasn't something they violated and NASCAR may have not done a good job when it comes to penalizing, they can go to the appeals panel. But I think for RFK, this is definitely a slight win for the team. It's not a complete win by any stretch of imagination, but it definitely is a little bit of a slight win for sure for the program and team, because now, like I've already mentioned, they go from being 23rd in the regular season standings and they move up to 16th in the regular season standings. So they put themselves back in the playoffs currently at the moment. But I wanted to mention this again. There's a lot of good tracks for some of the road course guys coming up. AJ Allmendinger, who's going to be a threat to win road courses. I think you'll look at Shane Van Gisbergen, for example. One, he's starting to figure out the ovals. Just got a top 15 in the Coca-Cola 600. And I know Chris Buescher is good at road courses, and he beat SVG last year at Watkins Glen on the last lap of that event. But I think SVG is going to have a great chance and opportunity to go to victory lane there at some of the upcoming road courses in the rest of the regular season. So I am very intrigued nonetheless to see what happens with this team and if they can, because RFK's had kind of an up and down. They've had some luck recently. I mean, Brad Keselowski just got a top 5 most recently at the Coke 600, his first top 5 and top 10 of the season. And Ryan Preece has shown some decent pace and speed so far this year. And in general, I look at what's going on with RFK. I know it's been a rough season for the team and program. They had the disqualification for Ryan Preece recently. But in general, it seems like the luck for RFK Racing might be turning in the better direction. At least things seem to be going a little bit better for the organization currently at the moment. And we'll just have to kind of wait and see if those things continue heading toward that direction going forward. But unless it's a big deal for RFK Racing, it's a big deal. They've got their penalty amended. And again, while the whole penalty has not been removed completely, they still got some of their penalty points back, and they're not going to be as much of a jeopardy in regards to that going forward. But at least they've won their penalty partially. They didn't win the penalty technically, but they were able to get their penalty amended, which I think is good for the organization and a big win for the organization overall, in my opinion. They've got some of the penalty amended and gotten a lot of their points back. So that is going to be today's special breaking news report on RFK Racing getting their penalty amended. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go to below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about the decision? You think NASCAR made the right decision? You think it's the wrong call from NASCAR? Let me know your thoughts, or the penalty board. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have race picks for the Cracker Barrel 400 at National Super Speedway. We're also going to have, of course, the Xfinity Series race picks as well. And I don't know if I'm going to have the Paint Skin video. I might push that to Friday. We're going to talk about this RFK penalty. We're going to talk about some other news, like, of course, Alex Palou being interested in racing in NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson signing up with a new agency board, Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace's Ross Chastain, SVG, Will Brown, Cam Waters, Brock Feeney, all the good stuff, Dodge, Cletus McFarland, Frankie Muniz, Connor Zilch, Junior Motorsports, all the good stuff we'll be talking about on the channel in the coming days and weeks. We got a lot of great content dropping. We're going to be heading to National, which I'm really excited for the racing. And we're also back on Amazon, and the numbers for the Amazon broadcast were definitely really good. Excited to see Carl Edwards on the broadcast again, same with Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, Adam Alexander, everyone part of the broadcast team. Excited for all that coming up soon. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.